Hello, hello, hello. Here we are on our fifth of six Own Your Genius series. And we have two extraordinary women here with us today. Today we have Julia Bernadsky, who is a transformational energy leadership and untame. I can't talk here today. Untame your heart and your life and your business. We'll get to hear more from her in a minute. And we have Stacey Cruz, who is helping authors navigate the publishing and promotional process with ease and clarity. Ladies, welcome. It's so great to have you here today.
Thank you.
Hi.
Yeah. And I've been saying this every time as we kick these off every day these last 2 weeks. I love doing these. These are so much fun. And if you haven't tuned in yet, go back and tune into some of the others. There's some really great stories that people are sharing, the great impact work that they're doing. And today is no different. I want to start with Julia Bernadsky today and hear a little bit about some of the work she is doing in her business and in our world. So Julia, welcome. Tell us a little bit about you.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me, by the way.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah, very excited to be here. So, work in the business and in the world. So, I'm the founder of Untamed Hearts. For those of you who don't know about Untamed Hearts, it's the brand that originally was created to communicate energy, to communicate message of peace, to infuse everything that we do with intention and meaning. So we started to create beautiful objects. A lot of them are jewelry that become amulets in your hands. They are infused with energy, they're made with intention, and they become those pieces that you hold on to and call forth the energy that you need, you want to connect to in the moment. Now, I'm going to just go back for a second. The original idea was not a jewelry. The original point was to have a platform that we can speak to people who are aligned with us and infuse message of peace. When Ukraine happened, now I am from Kiev. I was born in Kiev in Ukraine. When Ukraine war happened on February 24, it was a shock to say the least. And at the same time, the the energy of the war versus energy of unity of people of Ukraine was just such a, like, I can't even explain it. It's such a deep hurt and deep pain that so many people are experiencing right now. And then the war is such a dark force of darkness. And right now, the war is happening between the light and the darkness, between light, life, and the darkness. And at the same time, watching people of Ukraine unite in the way they did, become one in a way that none of the world had seen yet. And then the leader of Ukraine become a leader who cares about people, who doesn't speak the language of a politic. That he doesn't speak as politician.
He wasn't a politician before, right?
Yeah. He's an actor.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So he was chosen by people. He is not a politician, period. And the way he is leading people right now is from the heart.
And courageously.
Courageously, that's right. Having a courage, be on the front line. He's the only president who does that right now. Nobody else does. Yeah. Certainly not the one in Russia who is hiding behind everybody.
Right.
A coward. Mm-hmm. So many levels. So you may feel a bit of a pain through me, but that's a pain that the whole world is experiencing.
The whole world does experience, and I know you're feeling it really deeply, but you're right. I have talked to so many friends who are feeling the energies of our world, and they're tuning into it, and they're feeling off, and they're trying to figure out why. And it is because there is that tension between the light and the dark in the world.
Yeah, it's a tension, to say the least. It's a war, and the Ukraine is fighting for the whole world right now. And
Right.
I'm not going to stop saying it until we win this war, because it affects every single one of us. If it's not Ukraine, it's going to be another country.
Yeah.
So I never talk about politics, and this is not about politics. This is about life.
Yeah.
And the work Untamed Hearts does right now, we talk about it. We bring awareness on the visual level and every way, so that we stop, we pause, we send energy, we pray, we connect with what's happening, because our energy, our thoughts are so powerful. And every time we do that, we're contributing to the scale of life. And then we created this necklace, Untamed Hearts necklace, that says peace for all on the other side, with the colors of Ukraine. And 100% from sales of this necklace goes to Ukraine. So we're transferring money to the organizations that support the revival soldiers is the last one.
And both Stacey and I have those necklaces, and I love those necklaces. I really do. I've been wearing them as a bracelet, and I don't have it on right now, but I have been wearing them as a bracelet, and I really love the energy of what you've created here. So one of the things I really admire, Julia, is that you really, you're building a business, you're running a business, and at the same time, you said, "Wait a minute, I'm going to make my business stand for peace through this." And you really took action. So I want to really highlight that, because I think that's so important, how you followed what your heart said to do, and it, even just the very beginnings of your business, that it stood for peace. And now it's like, okay, I am really going to stand into this. Tell us a little bit about what you've done since the war has started, that's really about, certainly the bracelets. I know you've become very vocal and brought a lot of messages and helped share with, because you have so many friends and family in the Ukraine. You've been a vessel of sharing information back to us. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So I've been speaking with my friends who are right there fighting, and who are there in Kiev and other places.
Mm-hmm.
And I get the moment the war started, they asked me for one thing. A few different people from different places asked me for one thing: talk about it. We want to make sure that the world knows what truly is going on, because what's going on, because what Putin, Russia wanted the world to see was completely different. They wanted to see this as an humane, for people kind of action to save people. It's a complete lie. And so they asked me to speak for them. And they send me messages, they send me videos, they send me information. And what I do is I talk about it all the time. And I do it because it's very important that we don't get used to it. We don't become numb to the wars happening. People are dying.
Right.
I don't want to say things in a very descriptive way, but it's crime against humanity. It's brutal. And we're going to rebuild Ukraine. But right now we need to win. And we're going to need to rebuild people in a way that the trauma that people are experiencing, have gone through or are going through, we are not designing human beings for that. So everything we do is around that, to talk, to have an awareness, to collect money as much as possible. And everything that I create in Untamed Hearts, the collections that I create, my pieces, they're all about consciousness. So every piece has a story, a consciousness, an energy that is infused in it. And it's about unity. It's about oneness.
Yeah.
It's about togetherness, because the only way Ukraine is an example of that, of how coming together, you becoming not untouchable, but unbeatable. You becoming that force of that protects life itself. And it's only possible when we come together and when we become one.
Yeah. So good. So good. Tell us more about your business. And, yes, and so many of us, I have many pieces of yours. I love your jewelry. And as do so many of the women in my community, because we've all fallen in love with your jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us more about Untamed Hearts, and also tell us about the work that you're doing in the world of spiritual teachings.
Yes, so Untamed Hearts, we are in the summer tour right now. We're traveling through different states. Next state is Chicago. I'm bringing a new collection, which is Unity Collection. So that part you can connect to and you can see. And if you want to own some of these pieces, it would be great for me to know you own it, and great way to support Untamed Hearts so that we can continue doing this work. Also, the extension of Untamed Hearts right now is the program Untamed Your Heart. And that is a work that I'm being called to do. I'm working with people one-on-one a lot. And also we're going to have a few retreats we already have on schedule in July, in November, Untamed Your Heart retreats. And it is all going to be a deep dive into how to live your life with you and have courage to live your life with an open heart. What does it mean to have untamed heart? To me, so to me, it's a direct connection to the source, direct connection to being guided by the creator. It's living your life in a high vibration energy.
Yeah, I love it. And one of the things that, so you've had your Untamed Hearts jewelry business for many years, but there was something more that was calling to you. How did you, and I know the answer to this, but how did you make the decision to follow that thread, right? What was the calling that you were hearing inside that really was guiding you?
Yeah.
Because I think it's so important. And so many of our listeners have ideas and thoughts that drop in and say, oh, what if I did this? And they don't always follow those, right? So I want you to kind of hit on that story.
Yeah. So I'm just going to trace back a little bit in 2016 when Untamed Hearts was born. And please notice, Untamed Hearts was born. I did not plan for it. It wasn't a strategy. I was following the energy. Energy never lies. So I was working, my expertise is really in creating brands. That's what I was doing in the corporate world a lot. And I'm also, my essence is a healer. So as I was working with my clients, creating their brands, in between, Untamed Hearts was born. It just downloaded, it showed up. I was following the guidance. And I told you a little bit about it before, right? In the beginning of our conversation. And then right now, for the past 2 years, I've had a very strong calling. It's kind of like that inner knowing. It's that space that you just cannot, how you cannot not breathe, or sometimes you cannot not sneeze. On that level, it's just like, it's just like I have to walk this path, not because I have to, but because this is my path to walk.
Right.
And the calling is to help people heal. And Untamed Hearts is already doing it. But I'm really good at working with people. My magic is to channel energy, to see the potential, to see what's blocking it, and to connect those dots, help people to connect those dots, but also hold that space of high vibration energy where we can create from being guided by the creator, being guided by the source, not to create from a place, oh my God, I have a homework due. Oh my God, if I don't do that, I'm not going to have money to pay my bills, or somebody else is looking better than me. That's not the energy to create from.
Right.
Or at least I hope that we
it's
can
not.
get out of that.
It's not.
I want people to get out of that place of luck and create from a place when you are being guided, that when you're creating what it's truly yours to deliver, to create. And so Untame Your Heart work and retreats are all focusing on that. And the calling, it's kind of like, I cannot not breathe. I cannot not do this.
Yeah. And it's, as you started to describe this to me a couple of years ago, I was like, I could just feel the whole energy, the pull that you were stepping into, and also really see the expansion of your gifts, because this is such a true gift of yours to be able to work in that energy and to be able to help others experience that energy, because you have that magic within you. So I'm so excited that you're really moving into that direction. You've got the retreats going, and so that's super exciting. So congratulations on that.
Thank you, Cami. And just one more thing, I always forget to say that what people, I've done a number of call it energy magic session, a number of them. And it's magical what comes out at the end. So energy magic session is kind of like that, creating that opening.
Yeah, totally. It's really opening into what else is possible for you from an energetic perspective. So that's so good. So what brought you into the Mastermind community? What was it that called you into the Mastermind community?
Yeah, so Kemi, we met at the conference, at the big conference.
We did. I walked in and I was like, I need to know this woman.
Yeah, I remember. And so we started to connect over Zoom to follow up our like feeling really good about each other. I felt the same. And when we started to talk, I don't know why, but I had that desire to share with you what's really like deeply bubbling, what's happening, what I want to create in my life. And I remember that you told me that you see me do this, this, and that. And I was like, yes, Kimmy, that's exactly that. And you said, I can help you to walk that path, to manifest that. And I remember that just like knowing again, it was just my whole body, yes.
Yeah.
Whole body, yes. If people don't know how to test with your body, write to me, I'll teach you. Test with your body. It was my body, full body, yes. And so about a year later, right? Year or 2 years later, I joined Kami's community, and I joined it because I knew that the work like that is not meant to be done, created, walked the path alone.
Yeah.
What's necessary are people who are aligned, who understand, and together we can amplify that for each other. Yeah. And so Kami's community is all about heart-centered entrepreneurs, business owners, people who are creating in this world things that maybe somebody else would say it's impossible.
Yeah.
Or what are you doing? I don't understand. But once it's created, then everybody else is enrolled and initiated into those projects because they have visuals. So before it exists, when it exists before it exists in a physical world, it very often exists in that community.
Yeah.
And together it's being manifested.
Yeah. And I'll tell you that my community loves Julia. She comes to Extraordinary Women Ignite, and her booth at Ignite is always a buzz. And everywhere I turn, it's like, I see your pieces amongst my community, and I love it. And they love, they've all fallen in love with Julia, just like I have. So thanks for being a part of my community.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll come back around for a second round of questions, but let's move over to Stacey. Stacey, tell us a little bit more about you.
Hi, thank you, Cami, so much for creating this space. And Julia, it was just so wonderful to hear all of what you had to say. My heart goes out to you and everyone in Ukraine, and I will wear my necklace feeling very differently after today. So Thank you. So I'm Stacey Crew. I'm an author and an author advocate.
Hey, Stacey, I'm going to pause you for a second. You've got a lot of garbly noise coming. Try that. See if that works. Maybe
a little bit better.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it might have been some interference with my earrings. So I help writers become authors, and I help them navigate the process of publishing and promoting their books with a lot of ease and clarity. I like to say that I create a path to possibilities when it comes to publishing. I have a unique perspective on the industry because I've been in and around the publishing industry for almost 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I started back when self-publishing didn't exist. So I've just watched the industry transform and the opportunities transform for writers to become authors. You know, it used to be a lot more exclusive. It's more accessible now. To be able to support people in getting their stories out to the public, to their followings, to their communities is just such a privilege. So I work very closely with authors on everything from book development through choosing a publishing model and then actually getting their books into the hands of readers.
Yeah, it's so good. And so many people want to put a book out into the world. Where's a good place for them even to, I mean, where do you guide them if they're thinking about that?
And that's a great question. And that's asked a lot. So I have people come to me who they haven't even started writing. They say they want to write a book, but they have no idea where to begin, or they've written a book and what are the next steps. So I'm able to meet them where they are and formulate a plan to move their book through the process. So if it's someone who wants to write a book, I'll take them through a series of questions to define their mission and what their message is that they want to get out to the world, and help them pull together a format so that they can begin writing. I work in both the left and right brain. I navigate pretty well back and forth through that. So I'm able to take the very practical, logical steps to guiding someone, but also consider their message, consider what the type of work that they do. And as a trained coach, I'm able to ask those questions that can really dig down and pull out the goals, the nuggets that authors want to communicate.
Yeah. So the whole world of publishing is a big world, right? I mean, it's a confusing world because, I mean, so talk to us a little bit about that spectrum of publishing.
Sure. So there's a few different, at the core of it, there are a few different publishing models. There's the traditional model, which we're all sort of familiar with. Those are the Stephen Kings and the Glennon Doyles and the, #1 New York Times bestsellers. And they typically have an agent who will work with them on book development and then shop their book with the larger publishers. And that's fabulous. And an everyday person can do that as well. To get to one of the top publishers, you require an agent. So there's a process for that. A new model started developing, which is accessible to anyone too, and you don't necessarily need an agent, which is a hybrid model. So there's oftentimes an investment in that opportunity, especially if you're a first-time author, because the publisher, there's a risk involved, in publishing a book, and the publisher wants to make sure that the book sells. So it's important that the author have an investment in that to make sure that they're going to work to get the book into the hands of their readers and their following. And then there's self-publishing, which the price point for that is very low. Unless somebody's been through a rigorous editing process, it can be a little risky because, with the quality. I always suggest with every author, you want to make sure that you have a good quality written book. You can self-publish and still do that, but you want to make sure that you have a great editor. So it's really kind of considering the different models. And then it's also considering the marketing piece. And so that's a whole nother thing. It's one thing to write a book.
I remember when I launched my book, I was like, it was like, when you're all done, you want to be done. Yeah. And oh no, you're just starting your journey.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's the misnomer. Like, people think, oh, I'll publish a book and then other people will promote it. And in cases that does happen, but oftentimes the bulk of the marketing is left on the author, or you have to hire professionals to do that. So I really help authors sort through all of that. And I have a way that I've developed so that it not only sheds light on what you need to consider, but also to determine where your revenue is going to come from. Because unless you're a New York Times bestseller, typically you're not going to sell enough books to recoup your investment. So it's navigating that. So, okay, where's the revenue going to come from? Is it going to come from speaking? Is it going to come from workshops, retreats, and all of those things? And then we figure out what makes the most sense on spending on the publishing piece.
Yeah. So where do you typically guide your clients? And across that spectrum, where are you typically guiding them?
Well, I'm typically guiding them to either hybrid or self-publishing.
And is hybrid the same as an indie publisher?
It's similar. It's similar.
What's different?
What's different? That's a great question. Mostly with hybrid publishers, there is that investment involved. So with indie, it's same. You're sort of taking on the same amount of responsibility. It's a very collaborative effort. So I don't know, to be honest, specifically the details, and I really do think it depends upon which publisher it is.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too. Really
and I know indie, that was the way my book was published, was through Donna Mazzatelli's.
And she's a publisher, so hybrid works similarly.
Okay.
Yeah, very similarly.
Very cool.
But it's there's so much to consider in this, and so oftentimes what I see is a lot of authors will say, okay, I'm going to publish my book, and they spend a lot of money typically on publishing the book and then aren't considering the marketing. So it really is important.
So you really help them plan this out in a better way, so they're thinking about it holistically and building upon it and stepping into a publishing process that's going to work for them. Yeah,
and the other thing too is if you go traditional, that's a much longer process. So that means acquiring an agent, and then it means getting into one of the big houses, and their timeline is much longer than hybrid or self-publishing. So if someone's doing a branding book, for example, something that's going to support their coaching, their workshops, retreats, etc., you probably want a shorter timeline and work that into a business model.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. So do you have in fact, I know you do, if there's a one message for the whole world, what would it be?
Your stories matter.
Yeah.
I think stories are what connect us. And Julia spoke so beautifully, about her perspective on what's happening in the world and with the Ukraine, and her perspective and her story is going to differ even other Ukrainians and other people who have experience and knowledge about that. So our stories really do connect us. And I think even if somebody decides not to publish a book, it's so important to really identify your own stories and tell your stories, keep them within the family. I know we are losing a lot of that, not recording stories and keeping those stories alive. And it's what connects us all. And it's so important.
Yeah, stories are so important. So where's your business going? What's the future of your business, where you're taking it?
So I am continuing to grow in a way that I can help more writers become authors. So I do primarily help people individually, but I am beginning to offer an online program that will allow someone to just pop in. If someone's really good at taking direction and just needs some guidance, and I can give them the information and they can go with it, that will be available. And then I'll have coaching as well, group coaching. And
so you'll be able to serve kind of depending what people really need across that spectrum that way.
Yeah, and I find that people need, so publishing is a very personal process, obviously, with our stories and how we run our business or how we show up in the world. So there's that aspect, which I love to work with people one-on-one in that way. But then, and that's probably speaks more to the right brain, right? It's a little bit more creative and heart-centered and all of that. Then we have, the left side of the brain and just sort of the practical framework that is part of what needs to get accomplished. So that's where there's the group coaching is I think, really beneficial for those who maybe have developed their book already. And now they're looking to get through the process or navigate the process.
So when's a good time for someone's thinking, I want to write a book. When's a good time in the process for them to reach out for support from you?
Great question. So I'm finding that a lot of people are approaching me right now who haven't even started writing a book.
Okay.
So I'm helping them get started. Historically, I've worked with writers who had a finished manuscript, but I would say if somebody is thinking about writing a book, talk to me. I offer a 45-minute free discovery, an author's journey discovery, where we can kind of, talk about just options, basically, and where they are in the process. But if somebody has a finished manuscript, I can help there as well.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. So I want you to go back to the time when you joined the Mastermind last fall. What brought you in?
So I'm a big believer that things happen for a reason, and when the timing is right. And I showed up and met you at a Dame's event, and we were sitting very close to one another. I remember you were positioned on the end, and I was kind of like, just wondering, you're sitting there, you look like you were about to get up, and you went up and you talked about Ignite. And right away, I was just so intrigued. And again, the timing was perfect. And so I attended Ignite. And just by the end of that weekend, have you ever been somewhere and you kind of, you're with a group of people and you might walk out and think, I like that, but I don't know if it's really for me. Well, there were 100 women in the room at Ignite. I left that weekend feeling like I had touched base with almost everyone, and I felt so just joyful and inspired after that weekend. So it was kind of a no-brainer, and I've been a member of masterminds in the past, and I know the power of masterminds. I know how powerful it is when you get people together and you the ideas just ping, 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 and the accountability factor is incredible. And the other thing too was just the idea of having a soulful group of women. It's really everything that I've been looking for and didn't realize.
And what's changed since you've joined?
I'm much more accountable. I've accomplished a lot. I set some goals, and I love that we started in November. So by the time we hit January, I was really running. I had a lot of things already in motion. I've gotten so much clarity on where I'm headed. You had asked earlier about where my business is headed. A big part of my business is strategic partnerships. So working with publishers, working with other people in the publishing industry. And I see that much more clearly, how I can add value and how other partners can add value to what I'm doing. So the clarity has been incredible.
Good. I know for myself, I have belonged to many masterminds over the years, and they've always been so useful, so valuable for me. And I've just recently joined a new mastermind for myself, right? Putting myself out there for my growth. And it'd been a couple of years since I'd been in the full-blown year-long mastermind. And I'd been doing some other things with some training with some other people, but this was like the whole community part of it. And that was huge. It's so good to be in community with others as we're growing. It's certainly helping. It's good. It's awesome. It feels so good. So I want to keep going into the second set of questions, and we're going to stay with you, Stacey. So showing up for others, as you show up for others as authors and all the emotions that go along with that, right? Because it is an emotional journey. How are you taking care of you in the mix of all of that?
Yeah, well, I am a trained health coach, a certified health coach as well. So
you know about a thing or two about that.
I do. I have always found that a morning practice for me is really beneficial. It lapsed a little bit, I'll have to be honest, for a while. but I have rebooted that practice. I get up in the morning and just kind of ease into the day very slowly. I do not pick up my phone right away. I have a very specific video that I don't watch, I actually listen to it on YouTube. It's an Oprah video that's been very helpful for me. 10 minutes long. I do a 10-minute mindful meditation. Take a walk. I walk my dog, so I'm out in nature first thing in the morning. And I do practice a lot of positive self-talk, mantras. Being kind and showing self-compassion has been one of the greatest gifts that I've given myself, especially over the last couple of years. Yeah, and just spend as much time as I can out in nature and with my dog, with my friends, family.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. And how about a pearl of wisdom for our listeners?
Oh, pearl of wisdom. It really goes back to stories, and I love that all connects for me. Share your stories, know where you come from, embrace that. I have family who they're no longer with us physically, but they're always in my heart, and just knowing that and knowing the stories and knowing my roots is just a tremendous support to me, pretty much on a daily basis. I would say definitely on a daily basis. So embrace your stories. That's where our humanness lies. Yeah.
And where can people learn more about you and your work?
They can visit easecommunications.com. It's EASE communications.com. That will give you lots of information about my work. I'm regularly updating my website, but there is a discovery option there for the author's journey discovery call. And I also have an Instagram. It's Stacey Crew Wellness, and that's my health coaching piece. But it really I do connect with a lot of people there, and it's a good place to follow me as well.
Excellent. So they can get a complimentary discovery session with you if somebody wants to know more about the book work.
Yes, I love that. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Julia, let's go back to you. How are you taking care of you in the mix? Because I know you are showing up in such a big way for our world right now. How are you taking care of you?
Thank you, Cami. What comes immediately is I wish I could do more.
Yeah.
It's that feeling that there's only that much you can do, but everything adds up and counts. I said that too. How do I take care of me? So Lucky, my dog, he takes me for a walk 3 times a day minimum, and at least 5 miles. So that's a really nice way to move the energy in the body.
Right.
I have ongoing music in my space, and it's sound bowls music.
Yeah.
So I have it even when I'm not here, but when I'm here, getting up, and it's very low.
Is it always sound bowls?
Yes, I have just the Spotify. It's just streaming. I'd never.
Oh my gosh, that's a brilliant idea. I love that.
Annie, a friend of mine from Arizona, I've experienced it in her home, and I adopted it, and it's really beautifully taken care of me. So what it does is it's frequency of sound vibration in your space. Whether you know it or not, it affects you in a really beautiful way.
I totally. I love sound bowl, the frequency, the energy of that, and it just makes me feel so good. But I never ever have, and I will meditate to it. But I have never thought about just playing it in my office all the time. That's a brilliant one.
Yeah. So I saw it. I experienced it at my friend's home, and I adapted it, and it feels really good. So it changes the frequency of the brainwave, right?
Brilliant.
So my dog is testimonial to that.
Yeah,
also.
Totally. So that's so good. What about a pearl of wisdom?
The pearl of wisdom, consciousness of unity. consciousness of peace. Division between people is an illusion. Like the borders are an illusion. The
Right.
color, the race, the religion, the beliefs, all illusion.
So appreciate
We
that.
are
I mean,
one
it's
soul. We are
mhm.
one. And until we feel it, embody it,
Yeah. Yeah.
peace will not come. We need peace. So for the peace, the consciousness of oneness.
So beautiful. Where can people learn more about you, Julia?
Right now, untamedhearts.com, untamedhearts.com. You can book the magic energy session with me.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you a beautiful experience, and I love doing that with people. Also, all of the Untamed Hearts collections and schedules are there, so you can meet us in person next time in Chicago. And I would love you to follow me on Instagram, to be connected with me on Instagram. It's at Untamed Hearts Jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
And the new places where you connect with me are coming up. So stay tuned. But everything.
What other cities are you going to be in this year?
After Chicago, I'm going to be in Midwest, in Minneapolis. I'm going to be in Madison. I'm going to be in Seattle for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
In Michigan as well, in Texas. So throughout the summer up to the holidays, and back to Chicago in December.
Nice.
So there's
and hopefully back at Ignite.
And in November, yes, I'm looking forward to it. What date is it? 11th?
It's November 10th through 12th.
10th to 12th.
Mm-hmm.
So just so you know, I'm going to bring something up. November 11, watch this. It's a portal. 11, 11, 22. So if you want to join Ignite, and this is not planned, I'm just saying it because I'm saying it, join it and go through the portal.
Yeah. Ooh. I like it. I can feel it already. I can totally feel it already. I remember last year on 11/11/21, we did at 11/11 we did a ceremony at Ignite. It was really fun. So we'll be doing something again because it will be such good energy. So and how can people the necklaces, where can people learn more? I mean, how can people support you in your work with Ukraine?
Yes. So if you want to buy you support Ukraine necklace, it's right there on the first page. So you can just click on that picture, that link, and just go ahead and buy it. 100% is going to go to Ukraine. If you want to buy, I have a Mother's Day collection. Mother's Day is coming up. A beautiful collection for Mother's Day with very special things engraved. For moms, like my mom, my inspiration is one of them. And so if you purchase from Untamed Hearts, you're supporting us to be able to meet, to be able to do this work, because we have other projects that we're planning for Ukraine. And so it really needs to grow and expand. And without you, we cannot do it. And then there is a new collection, just in general, new collection on Untamed Hearts. And you can see some previews on Instagram, though I dedicate my social media 100% to Ukraine. So I don't share as much, but most of it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, go follow both Julia and Stacey. It's so much. It's been great fun, ladies, to have you on today. And thank you so much for sharing all your good wisdom. We will be back tomorrow for our final Own Your Wisdom episode, and that is going to be with Tara McFarland, who is create conversations, bridging thinking with intuition and helping others to do the same. She is actually an engineer who really is helping tap into that spirit side of things. We've got Katie Spencer, hopefully, if she's feeling up to it, helping you live today the way you want to be remembered tomorrow. So she works with women of wealth to really create a different legacy. And Julie Doro, who is our videographer, And I got to spend time with her yesterday doing some video with her, and she's building impact-driven narratives through documentary style video. So you are going to meet some additional just extraordinary women. If you want to see all of these series, go catch them in the guide section of the Extraordinary Women Connect Facebook group. That's where we're saving all of these. So join us. This is so much fun to be spreading the good word of all my clients. Thanks, guys. And if anybody wants to talk about being part of a mastermind program, let's have a conversation, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Same time, same place. Bye.